Yo, new day, new day, Hollow Knight Nation, we are back, and I have some things I want to talk about. It's mainly, the ending of Frieren, so if you don't want to be spoiled, just go ahead. Fuck off, I guess. So the thing is, yeah, sure, I just said that we're talking about the end of Frieren, but that's probably not the end of Frieren. I don't actually know if it's, you know, some sort of ongoing thing. I should actually probably check that right now before I lose my entire point right off the bat. What the fuck is the website called? Live chart, there it is. Yep, you can't see shit. So, I don't know if this is a ongoing anime. I suppose it might be, but I don't think it is. But I just think the ending is really fucking weird, and it doesn't feel like an ending, is the thing. No, Dandadan is coming. That's not fucking Dandadan. Where the fuck did I see Dandadan? Dandadan is coming out. I am so excited. I haven't really been keeping up, but I've read enough to know that it's peak. Okay, so I see no Frieren here. Next season? Winter season? No Frieren? No. Sakamoto days though. Shit. Okay, so my point still stands. There goes like a minute of my life. My point still stands. The ending of Frieren is so fucking weird, and I don't really know what to do about it other than complain about it on here. It's weird. It's so goofy. Like they make some magic test, they pass it, and then they go on with their adventure. And then that's supposed to be the ending. I'm supposed to believe that that's the ending. No, of course it's not. Like the whole thing is set up like there's not really a clear goal, but it's at least set up that like yeah they're gonna make it to this this town that I forgot what's called, like where Frieren's old master is. You know, is it just called Heaven? It might just be called Heaven. But they're trying to make it to Heaven, and they are, like, I would say halfway, maybe. It doesn't feel right, you know. Again, they just continue on their journey, so I expect the manga to be like, yeah, sure, way ahead, right? I don't know, I kind of expected it to be like, that's just why, like, it's ongoing, but then again, it did make the, you know, the end credits feel like the final episode. Like, they made the whole music playing while the episode was still going on type deal. And I don't really know what to do about that information if this is really the ending, because it's so fucking disappointing, and there are so many things that are just... I mean, in general, in Frieren, I enjoy Frieren, I really do. But it is such a... there's so much missed up potential, so many missed opportunities. The big ones that I'm gonna yap about here today is primarily the ending. Like, we still don't really know anything about the other elf. I of course forgot his name. But basically the final proctor of the third test, which was also really weird. Like they just for half basically the entirety of this season, I suppose it's seasons, they just leave out Stark to make Fern and Frieren go on this test, this this magic association's like first-rate magic user list. I don't know. It has some. I don't know where I'm getting at. But anyway, they took this test to become first-class mages, and they meet a bunch of other people, and also all these other people they meet are kind of, I don't know, like, they're kind of cool. I don't know, it kind of feels odd just leaving them. Also that elf, like a couple episodes back, before the exam, they just kind of left him and we see him once talking to Ubel, and that's it. That he's never really mentioned again. And we don't know who he is or what he is or like where he's, you know, where did he come from, where did he go, you know, type shit. We don't know anything about the guy. Also the fucking priest, what was his name was just Goatee Priest because he was a priest who had a goatee. So absolutely awesome name. But we also just like we traveled with him a bit and then we just left him. Like, what was that about? Then he, you know, there could maybe be some side adventure and we see him later down the line, but no. The only later down the line we saw was in the last episode when, you know, we're flashing through all the characters, like what they're doing. We also see the elf there. But nothing is resolved by any means. Like, he wanted to go adventuring with his friend, that was the only reason he set out. And then they just split up, and then they are never to meet again. Or I guess that's the point, is that it's up to interpretation. Like, that was some of the point, that was like the major point of the last episode, is like, oh, I don't really like saying like teary goodbyes, because that would be kind of awkward if we actually end up meeting again. And I expect to meet this random person again, because Frieren is, again, she's an elf, they live for like thousands upon thousands of years. And it's, I don't know, I get it, right, but it's just an odd place to end the series, if they do end the series. But the more I talk about this, like, just by myself, the more I'm convinced that this is just a season ending, and there is way more to come. Because this is just fucking wrong. Also, they just, like, I saw that there were only like 2 episodes left, like 1.5 episodes left, and they were only at the, like, they used the entire second season to just the whole exam took the entire season, is pretty much what I'm saying, and they just speedran the last one in like maybe 1 episode total, because the whole shtick was just, okay, they made it this far, what's the final test gonna be? It's probably gonna be like the hardest one of the bunch, right? But not really. They just took an intuition test, I guess. You know, the Frieren's master that I can't remember the name of. She was the proctor of the final test, purely because Frieren was there. Also, we don't know anything about this elf. I think it's a testament to how little we know of her that I do not even remember her name. I really like her just general vibe, everything about her, but it's just it's intriguing me more than satisfying me, I guess. That sounds wrong, but you know, it's just weird that we don't really get to know anyone that well. It also just feels weird that Stark is just a non-factor in the last season, like in basically half the show at this point. It kind of sucks, but I guess that's how it is. I expected to absolutely hate this exam arc, but they actually did it pretty well. They also did a pretty good job at just making the other contendants somewhat likable, even if you don't like them at first. For example, the old man, what was his name? The old man, I can't remember any fucking names. I can remember Ubel. I fucking hate Ubel, but that's a whole nother thing. Oh my god. So the first exam is pretty much just catching a bird. That's it. But the thing is, this bird is very, very sensitive to any sort of mana. So that's a pretty goofy test to have at a at a first-class mage exam, but I get it. I get it. It's a cool gimmick, and it forces everyone to be really fucking creative. And even as the viewer, you don't really know. Like, okay, sure, granted, I didn't know shit about the bird, but like, even I'm just. They're forcing me to be creative about, like, okay, how would I go about doing this shit? And I really like the conclusion that they come to. At least the main group is that they essentially, quote unquote, poison the water with mana, and they freeze the main body of water that's inside the barrier. They're inside a huge barrier, by the way. And they essentially force these little birdlings to go to very specific ponds inside this barrier, and so that only they can actually get to the, you know, can get to them. And also, they're really fucking hard to find in the first place. But one thing is finding them, another is just catching them, which is where it gets a bit goofy. Like, sure, I can accept it, but in any other, like, situation, I would have liked so much to have, like, an explanation and have, like, concrete list of their powers and, like, you know, a concept of, like, what magic can actually do. But it makes sense in terms of, like, Frieren, because that's her whole shtick. Also, during the exam, you get, you know, it's very much emphasized that Frieren, and by extension Fern, their shticks are just very basic magic, but really fucking well done. And that's their main shticks, and I like that, but I also, like, you don't know the extent of the creativity of the of how the magic can actually be used. So that kind of sucks. That you don't really get the information before the information is, you know, used. And that's basically a lot of the criticism I have right now, is that a lot of the shit I couldn't really have puzzled together on my own. All of this shit that happens. But character-wise, I really do like this arc. But again, it could have been so much better. My biggest example of this is in the second exam, where they first of all, I really like the actual team ups. Like, it's weirdly fitting, every single one of them. And, like, I really like, again, the old man, that nobody really likes, how he comes up with something, like, some idea that, okay, we're not gonna be, like, essentially they have to make it to the bottom of a dungeon that has never been made to the bottom of, type deal. And we find out later why. It's because anyone who enters the dungeon, the dungeon makes a replica of that person, like a almost perfect replica. And that fucks up a lot of people, understandably so. But his main shtick, the old man, was like, okay, we have to work together. It would be beneficial for all of us. And everyone, literally everyone, including Frieren and Fern, they just leave. They don't want anything to do with this guy, and I it's understandable. He is a fucking dick, and he is known to be a fucking asshole. But it's never really touched upon that, okay, yeah, this guy's right. We're sorry. Like, they come to the conclusion that, okay, this guy is right, but they don't really mention that, okay, we fucked up. Uh-oh. That was not the move I made. That was not the move I made. Okay, but yeah, I like the old man in the arc, and this is where we get to a moment that Fern had with the Proctor. where there's so much missed opportunity here, and they just I feel like they just kind of left it as soon as they got to it, because they were just like sitting there chilling, like, okay, yeah, we're taking a break in this dungeon, and because because Frieren is the way she is, she's a lot of these new people we meet get a lot of opportunity to explain things that we haven't really thought about, and that can both be like a blessing and a curse, as I've talked about the whole magic system and shit. But the Proctor is especially, because she's she's a first level mage. She calls out Fern for not really being that into magic at all, and that really fucking hit me hard. Like, it could have the potential to be a moment where, have not the same gravity, but have the same vibe as the reveal of like the Armored and Colossal Titan, just like casually talking in the background. You know what I'm talking about, right? But no, they just leave it at that. Like, this great fucking character moment that, okay, I've been through all of this. I've been through all these adventures with Frieren, and I'm not really that interested in magic, actually. I could just, like, I could give less of a shit about magic. But no, she doesn't even really double down. It's not really answered whether, like, okay, I do like magic. You are wrong, and like, even that would have been like, okay, then why did we have to have this interaction in the first place? Which is also where I kind of am right now, because her solution was pretty much to say, okay, no, I mean, I like watching Frieren have fun, and that's why that makes it fun to me, I guess. And that's basically her whole reasoning for being with Frieren, and I really hope that it gets tackled at some point down the line. But no, I don't know, I suppose that's one of the main reasons that I really hope that there's this third season, I suppose. But no, I don't think there's one on the horizon, and God, can you stop doing the same attack over and over again? Thank you. Like, if you actually started this, like, in this actual high stakes situation, we could have had a moment in the battle with, the replica of Frieren, which is, of course, the final boss, that Fern is she's very, very stern about. Yeah, she can take Frieren on. Like, some sort of a moment where she really fucks up, and Frieren puts her full trust in her, and she just fucks up. She just completely fumbles, and that's what I can't really explain why, but it was building up to that moment, like some sort of big moment, and the big moment we got was just not really enough for me. Like, it was just, okay, they outsmarted the bad guy, but oh no, it didn't quite work. They only blew her fucking arms off, which is still a huge feat, but I would have liked some sort of, like, misfire, or, like, confirmation that, no, Frieren did a misinterpretation, I guess, because that was also built up, like, she underestimates her, Frieren underestimates Fern, and they hype it up to be a good thing, but I would really like consequences for that trust. I don't know what that says about me, but hey, let's not talk about that. But she essentially just, in my headcanon, in my fanfiction here, she fucks up, and the opportunity that Frieren gives her, because she needs a millisecond of opportunity to attack the fake Frieren. Like, she fucks up, and therefore, like, sure, she kills the fake Frieren, but she also kills the real Frieren at the same time. Or at least heavily fucking injures her. And therefore, the whole, like, Frieren having trust in Fern is kind of fucked up, and there would have been such a great situation. Also because the stakes are so high. Like, sure, it's just like a magic exam, quote unquote, just a magic exam, but it's really hyped up how high stakes this is in terms of just an exam. Like, people did die, especially in the second one where, you know, they were fighting against each other. I need a sip. Awesome. But yeah, there's just... Okay, that moment did not really need to happen, but I would really like it to be, like, planted in the background somewhere where, you know, it was the perfect opportunity right there to have, holy shit, I hate Galleon, to basically have Fern realize and, like, accept and finally say to someone that, no, yeah, I don't really like magic at all, I was just kind of forced into this life. And, like, the growth of her learning to say no, essentially. But nothing really came out of that, and they kind of just ignored it. And they did the series dirty, I feel. Can I get rid of Galleon? I hate you. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It feels weird. It feels odd. And also just the... You know, I've been nudging around fucking Ubel, and Ubel just... It was kind of underwhelming. Like, sure, she was cool, I liked her shtick. But again, the whole... I have a magic power that isn't explained, that is just gonna be pulled out when it's convenient. Like... Brother in Christ, why did you not use this before? Like, yeah, you can backtrack and say, yeah, this makes sense, right? And sure, it does, but it would have been way better if you just explained your powers right then and there, the first time you used it. Except you didn't, and essentially her power is that she can cut through anything that she imagines she can cut through. But then you use a little sliver of your brain power and think, oh, why didn't she immediately kill her opponent last time? She, like in the first, the bird catching, when they were all scuffling about the water holes and shit. And they had some bullshit explanation about her connection to another one of the guys, and I don't know, so much of this is just overwhelming, like, explanations that don't really make sense or are just really unsatisfying. And I haven't thought them enough through to make a proper... I should probably have, like, actually thought this through bits before yapping about it, but I guess that's... I don't have time for that shit. I already lost 2 hearts, damn. This sucks. But yeah, this, I don't know, I'm expecting a sequel to all of this, again, because we're not really done with any storylines whatsoever. Especially the main one with Frieren. I expect there to be some point where Frieren kinda, I don't know, it's also heavily implied that she's gonna... Frieren is gonna die at some point, right? by the hands of either a demon or a human. Or another elf, I suppose. And that has been heavily built up, especially with this, you know, the third proctor, the master of Frieren, and you know, it's heavily built up that she's gonna die at some point, which is why, like, we're getting all this shit, and like, I'm pretty sure we got it right when the battle between, you know, Frieren and Fern was occurring, and it was like, it was just building up so nicely to probably not Frieren's death because she's the fucking main character, right? But again, at least heavily injured. Wow. So heavily injured Frieren, I would have really liked that. Like, all this build up, all this backstory that we got. But no, nothing came of it, and nothing has come of it yet. And it has not been resolved in any way, shape, or form. Which sucks, because I'd like it to be, but it just hasn't. It just straight up hasn't. So that's not very funny, very funsies. You are just dropping a singular guy at a time. You're nice to me today. What's going on? I don't really. This feels weird. Okay, and now we're properly back. Okay, no, not even. You also only dropped 2, and you haven't really dropped like more than one aspect at a time. Oh my god. What? I don't think this is the same collector that I remember dying to like 60 times in a row. This might be like some sort of sick torture and I die in just a second. But like, just to get my hopes up, but then I get crushed immediately. I hope that doesn't happen, but who knows? I should have healed immediately there. I'm stunned. You're just dropping 2 at a time. Well, it's not like I'm complaining, but shit, man. Okay, well, this is some sick fucking torture. Bro was on like 1 HP. I could have just dived and then I would have been fine. That would have probably killed him anyway, and I would have died immediately to God Tamer. I don't like actually having to concentrate on a battle. This sucks. Collector sucks. Why can I not just yap for an hour? Oh well, rant over. This was... Yeah, well, see you tomorrow.